The first device we are going to test is a DT1130. It is recommended to enable subtitles for this video to see additional info. The specifications claim this device can detect 50 MHz to 2 GHz. I see units here that are used for radio frequency radiation, so they claim it can measure RF. If you look closely to this picture, you can see that it looks photoshopped. In the background we see towers for wireless communication, so this device should measure this, right? If we look at the specifications, it's the same claim as we have seen previously. Here is another page on eBay. It says top rated products. And this is clearly a cell tower, wouldn't you agree? Let's start the testing. This garage door opener emits frequencies below 1 GHz, so both devices here should be able to catch this. But the device on the left does not. Only the device on the right does, even though the source is very close to both devices. Next is a test versus a cell phone. I think this DT1130 only measures an electric field, since it looks like it corresponds with the electric mode of the EMF390, since both drop down. But the DT1130 doesn't measure RF like the EMF390 does. Numbers drop down on the EMF390 only when the call has ended. Let's confirm it measures electric. When you touch an EMF meter in electric mode, in many situations the values will go up. This is normal, but it often confuses people that buy their first EMF meter. Sometimes people think their meter is broken, but it's the body transferring more electric to the device. It looks like the DT1130 measures electric fields, but it looks very unstable and inaccurate compared to this higher quality device on the left. When they switch sides, you can see that the 1130 doesn't detect anymore. So it's also less sensitive. The device I'm touching now is very stable. It just takes some time for the values to settle completely. The DT1130 starts detecting something when touched, but the values remain unstable. When I pull the plug of this lamp, the numbers don't drop to zero on the white device, until I move the extension cable away. So it looks like this device very likely only detects strong electric fields. Look at the stable value. You can see the value rise when I bring a metal object closer to it. My body is transferring more electric to the meter via the metal. This does not happen when you do this with something in wood. The numbers go up the most when I touch the device directly with my body. The next device we are going to test is again presented like it can measure radio frequency radiation. This is clearly a cell tower. If we look at the specifications, they claim that this one measures up to 3.5 GHz. So, let's see if it is true. Nothing happens. The value stays at 0. This is a test with the phone base station being plugged in. Nothing at all. Not in the other modes either. Nothing. So it does not measure radio frequency radiation. Or it would have to be extremely insensitive. Does it measure electric fields? It appears it does, but it's also not a sensitive device. You will see proof of this in future videos. For a magnetic field test, a power adapter is a better source. You can see that numbers are not changing much when touching devices that are in magnetic mode. This device can also measure in microtesla, an alternative unit for magnetic fields. So it looks like this device can measure electric fields and magnetic fields, but not RF. Next device. They claim here that it can measure both electric and magnetic fields, and at the same time. The EMF 390 measures electric fields fine, no problem. But this Meterk does not. And I have to switch to the other mode to measure nothing as well. It's because it only measures magnetic fields, and it measures nothing else at the same time, except for temperature. When switching between modes, you can see that it's just another unit for magnetic fields. You can see how big the difference is between these two devices in another video. So it looks like this device only measures magnetic fields. Next device. They claim it can measure electric, magnetic and radio frequency radiation. They also claim it is highly accurate and professional. But it doesn't look like it can measure electric fields. It looks like the numbers are just fluctuating. Nothing much happens when I touch the device. We know that this device does it. It's just here for comparison and proof that the test setup is correct. Whatever this baby blue device is doing, it doesn't appear to be about electric fields, or it's very insensitive to them. Test against the phone base station. It looks like both the red and blue numbers react to RF, but I don't like how it performs. Now all three modes look like they react. I think the red and blue values both react to RF. I'm not sure what the bottom value reacts to though. Because when I test it against this power adapter, there doesn't appear to happen much unless very up close. It's difficult to be sure about what this device measures exactly. All this time the Meterk measured magnetic from much further away. There is a big difference between the magnetic mode of these devices because the Meterc measures magnetic all over the place here, while the other device does not. This device appears to measure RF in some way, but magnetic fields I'm not sure. It's a very strange device and not in a good way. Next device is a so-called fake K2. Does it measure both magnetic and electric fields as they claim here? It appears it does not measure electric. There's always one LED burning on the K2 unless the battery is low. More tests with this K2 and with the genuine K2 can be seen in another video. These K2 devices only measure strong magnetic fields. This manual claims that this Eric Hill device can measure up to 3.5 GHz. However, it appears that its VM mode measures electric fields, which was to be expected. It looks like it measures some magnetic, but it does not react to the RF. The Eric Hill device measures electric and magnetic fields like the EMF 390 does, but only the EMF 390 measures RF. Both these devices do not measure RF, but they do detect electric from this cell phone. The Eric Hill measures more, but that doesn't mean it's better or more accurate. The device in the middle here is set to measure magnetic fields as a comparison, so it relates to the bottom values on the Eric Hill. So it looked like this device only measures magnetic and electric fields. Here is another example of a device with unrealistic claims. And we can do this all day. I think you got the point. The following is a list of available EMF devices and what they can measure.